Beloved chosen one, stop for a moment and listen. Heaven itself has turned its gaze toward you. This is not coincidence. This is divine orchestration. The breath you just took was marked by eternity before your first cry ever echoed in time. You are not walking through ordinary days when you are walking through prophecy. Then every step you take has been noticed by heaven, and even the angels have been sent ahead of you to clear the path. There are moments in life when you sense something shifting in the unseen. Your spirit stirs though nothing around you looks different. That chosen one is heaven moving. The atmosphere shifts when a destiny awakens. You've been wondering why the weight has been heavier lately, why people have distanced themselves, why your peace feels tested. It's because you've stepped into the spotlight of divine attention. Heaven has noticed, and so has the enemy. But fear not, you were never meant to face this alone. Even now, unseen to your human eyes, angelic hosts move around you, guardians appointed from before time, waiting for the exact moment when you would step into this divine awareness. You are not late. You are right on time. Heaven has not forgotten your prayers. They have been stored in golden bowls before the throne, and now they rise as incense before the Almighty. The angels were sent because you carry something that must reach the appointed hour. That's why storms have come, why the delay stretched longer than expected. But what felt like denial was actually divine design. The Father has been protecting his investment in you. You are his chosen one, the one through whom light breaks the darkness. Close your eyes for a second and imagine it, the King of Heaven whispering your name, summoning his messengers and saying, "Go, guard that one. They are walking in my plan." It's not a metaphor. It's reality in the spiritual realm. The moment you surrendered your will to his, the heavens recorded your alignment, and angels began to move. Remember how you survived when you shouldn't have. How peace showed up in the middle of chaos that wasn't luck, that was divine covering. There were angels standing between you and destruction. When people betrayed you, heaven reassigned your circle. When doors closed, heaven sealed what wasn't meant to hold you. You've been divinely redirected. So lift your head. The trembling in your heart is not weakness, it's the sound of your spiritual DNA awakening. Every chosen one reaches this moment when the ordinary world starts to feel too small, when your spirit knows there is more. That's heaven calling you higher. You have been seen, known, and appointed. The time of hiding is ending. Heaven is calling you into visibility. Angels have gone before you, preparing favor in rooms you've never entered, speaking your name where your feet have yet to stand. This is your moment to step boldly into divine purpose. Don't shrink back. Don't question your worthiness. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Even now, as these words reach you, heaven leans close. The same voice that called Moses from the burning bush is calling your name from the fire of destiny. You may have felt forgotten, but heaven never loses sight of its chosen. You are remembered, surrounded, and anointed. The angels have already begun their work. Watch as divine alignment begins to unfold in the days ahead. Listen carefully. Chosen one, the world needs the sound of your obedience. Every yes you speak shakes the kingdom of darkness. Every step you take in faith releases power. You are a walking signal of heaven's intent on earth. The reason your warfare has been intense is because your assignment is immense. The enemy fears the moment you realize who you truly are. But today, that moment has come. You are no longer unaware. Heaven's light is upon you. Walk with reverence, but also with confidence. Angels do not accompany the uncertain, they move with those who walk in conviction. You are that one, The time is now, as it is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Take this to heart. You are not forsaken, not forgotten, not unprotected. The heavens are actively watching over you. Every threat that tried to stop you has already been disarmed by divine order. You are surrounded by light, marked by grace, and guided by unseen hands. Now breathe. Let your soul settle into the awareness of divine presence. The angels are near, and your steps are ordained. You are not walking by accident, you are walking in his plan. If this word resonates with your spirit, pause right here and let heaven know you receive it. Like, share, and subscribe so the message continues to reach other chosen ones awakening just as you have. And in the comments, type the prophetic number that seals this beginning 777, a symbol of divine completion and perfect alignment. Before you ever took your first breath, chosen one. Your name was already spoken in the chambers of heaven. You were not born by accident or by chance. You were designed, intentionally crafted by divine wisdom, shaped by eternal love, and sent into this generation with a sacred assignment. The world saw your arrival as a birth. Heaven saw it as a deployment. Long before you opened your eyes, angels had already been stationed beside you. They hovered in quiet readiness, waiting for the moment your soul would awaken to its purpose. You might have thought you were walking alone through dark valleys and quiet heartbreaks, but heaven was always keeping watch. You see, the weight you carry is proof of your calling. Ordinary souls do not feel the kind of resistance you've endured. You have faced rejection that seemed cruel, betrayal that cut deeply, and seasons of silence where God seemed far. Yet through it all, the thread of grace has never snapped. You kept walking, you kept believing. Even when your faith trembled, you never truly quit, and that endurance is the evidence of divine design. When you felt abandoned, heaven was actually adjusting the stage. When people walked away, it was because the next chapter required different characters. Every shift had purpose, every loss, a hidden layer of protection. And right in the midst of that process, heaven spoke a truth that has not faded through the centuries. The Spirit declares in Isaiah chapter 49, verse 1, "Before I was born, the Lord called me. From my mother's womb, he has spoken my name." Let those words settle in your heart. The call of God over you is not new, it predates your pain. It existed before your first doubt, before the world tried to rename you, before you even had a voice to answer him. That divine call is the anchor holding your destiny in place. You may not have understood why you survived what others didn't, why your spirit refused to die even when your strength was gone. It's because heaven's claim on your life could not be revoked. Angels were assigned to your name from the very beginning, following the sound of his voice spoken over you before you even breathed. There were moments you thought you missed your chance, times when you felt like your story was over. But what you didn't see was that the author never stopped writing. The same hands that formed galaxies have been guiding the pen of your life. You are not behind, you are being positioned. Every pause was preparation. Chosen one, realize this: God's timeline does not operate on human schedules. What feels delayed in your eyes is right on time in his plan. The angels surrounding you are not idle, they move in alignment with heaven's perfect timing. When you walk in obedience, you activate their assignment. There will come a moment when the hidden years make sense, when you look back and see the fingerprints of grace on every closed door, every sleepless night, every tear that hit the floor. You will realize you were being guarded, guided, and grown. The pain was never wasted, it was sculpting the strength required for your purpose. So now, as you stand here in this moment of divine awareness. Remember who you are and whose you are. You are the fulfillment of an eternal promise, a continuation of a divine narrative. The same God who whispered your name before time began still speaks it now. Angels still listen for that name. And every time you choose to keep walking in faith, heaven celebrates. Because the story is unfolding exactly as it was meant to. Walk in quiet confidence. Chosen one. You are marked, remembered, and protected. Every breath you take is still part of the divine plan written before the foundations of the world. You are not here by mistake. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak has been orchestrated to refine your spirit. The angels who walked with you through the shadows now stand ready to escort you into divine manifestation. Heaven is not silent. Heaven is setting the stage for revelation. Listen, chosen one. Your steps are divine syllables in heaven's poetry. What once broke you will soon bless you. What once seemed like loss will unfold as wisdom. Angels record your faith with reverence because your persistence declares, "I still believe." That declaration shakes darkness and summons light. So rise again. The past no longer defines you, it refined you. The angels rejoice, for your obedience is unlocking a season of restoration. Walk with boldness, speak with authority, and trust that every unseen battle was heaven's way of preparing you for visible victory. You are ready now. Chosen one. Every day you walk through a realm that your eyes cannot see. The world you touch and move through feels solid, but beyond that surface is a spiritual battlefield, an invisible war where angels and forces of darkness clash over your destiny. You don't merely exist within this world, you influence it. Every choice you make sends ripples through eternity. When heaven identified you as one of its own, darkness took notice. From that moment, the enemy began constructing obstacles, distractions, temptations, and spiritual fog meant to keep you unaware of who you are. Every conflict you faced, every season of heaviness, every voice that tried to silence your purpose, all of it has been part of this unseen struggle. Yet the truth stands unshaken. You are never outnumbered. Heaven has assigned guardians to your journey, warrior angels trained in obedience and purpose. They respond not to your fear, but to your faith. Every prayer you whisper, every tear you shed in surrender, activates them. When you stand in alignment with God's word, heaven moves on your behalf. Look back for a moment. How many times were you spared when the situation could have ended differently? The close calls, the moments when everything fell apart but somehow you remained standing. Those were angelic interventions. You may not have heard wings or seen light, but divine presence surrounded you. Every rescue was recorded in eternity as proof that you are covered. Still, understand this: the battle continues. The enemy knows he cannot steal your destiny, so he tries to distract you from it. Confusion, fatigue, sudden discouragement, they are not random. They are tactical strikes to pull your gaze away from heaven. But angels are fighting to keep your focus clear, to keep your heart anchored to truth. The word of the Lord reveals in 2 Kings, chapter 6, verse 17. Then Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. This same vision surrounds your life. Though your natural eyes see only challenges, your spiritual reality is surrounded by flame angels positioned like walls of light encircling you. You are protected in ways you cannot comprehend. What feels like chaos is often just the sound of heaven rearranging the battlefield. Chosen one, this war is not meant to break you, it's meant to build you. Every battle you survive expands your authority. You learn to discern deception, to stand unmoved when storms rise. You begin to sense when angels are near, when peace descends without reason, when courage rises from nowhere. That is the evidence of divine proximity. Do not let fear rule your steps. The darkness cannot outnumber light. It only thrives where faith grows silent. Keep your worship loud. Let your prayers shake the unseen realm. You were never called to hide, you were chosen to stand. Angels are strengthened by your obedience and paralyzed by your doubt. Decide which voice will lead you. You are not a victim in this war, you are a vessel of victory. You carry heaven's decree within your spirit. And though the battle feels unending, remember that the outcome has already been written. Light wins. Always. Now, chosen one, take a moment and declare your position in this war. In the comments, type "Heaven fights with me." Say it, believe it, and understand its power. These 4 words are not a slogan, they are a spiritual statement of alignment. When you speak them, you remind both heaven and hell of your identity. You proclaim that you are not fighting alone, that angelic warriors march beside you, and that your destiny is under divine protection. Heaven truly fights with you, always has, always will. When you type "Heaven fights with me," you are not just commenting, you are declaring identity. Those words echo through the spirit realm, signaling to the angels assigned to you that you stand in agreement with divine order. It's a declaration that your trust is in God's victory, not your own strength. Heaven fights with me means you recognize that unseen hands are already working on your behalf. It's not wishful thinking, it's prophetic alignment. The moment those words leave your mouth, you remind darkness that it cannot win. You are surrounded, protected, and empowered by the armies of the living God. So say it boldly: "Heaven fights with me." Let it rise from faith, not fear. Each time you repeat it, your spirit strengthens, your atmosphere shifts, and your confidence in God deepens. Angels respond to conviction, not hesitation, and this declaration marks you as one who truly believes heaven is on your side. Chosen one, before you even recognized the light within you. Darkness had already recognized it. Long before you could articulate faith, the enemy had marked you as a threat. You wondered why you were attacked so early, why rejection found you when all you offered was kindness, why you felt different in rooms where everyone else seemed comfortable. It wasn't your imagination, it was spiritual recognition. Darkness knows what heaven deposits. The enemy can sense divine fingerprints, and he fears those who carry heaven's reflection. That's why your life seemed to attract conflict without cause. When others could blend in, you were singled out. When others sinned without consequence, though you felt immediate conviction. You have always been different because you were born under divine distinction. From your earliest days, something in you carried light, an unseen glow that drew both favor and warfare. The spiritual realm reacts to light the way shadows react to the dawn. They tremble and retreat. You may not have realized it, but every time you entered a room heavy with despair, your presence began to shift the atmosphere. That's not arrogance, that's assignment. You carry something divine that darkness cannot tolerate. The world may have misunderstood you. People might have called you sensitive, dramatic, or strange. They couldn't see what was happening in the unseen realm, how your spirit was tuned to frequencies heaven hears clearly. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to disturb what is stagnant, to awaken what has fallen asleep, to shine where others settle for shadows. Even now, as you read these words, your soul stirs with remembrance. This is not new information, it's revelation. Somewhere deep within, your spirit always knew that the storms were not punishment but confirmation. The intensity of your struggle is proportionate to the magnitude of your calling. The Spirit spoke through the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. You are that light. You are the living fulfillment of that verse. Every trial you've endured, every betrayal, every tear, all of it has only refined the brightness within you. The more darkness pressed against you, the stronger your light became. What the enemy meant for harm only clarified your purpose. It's easy to forget that spiritual opposition is evidence of value. The enemy doesn't chase the empty. He pursues the anointed. That is why you couldn't remain hidden, why your heart couldn't stay comfortable in compromise. The fire inside you was never meant to be extinguished. It was meant to illuminate others lost in the dark. There were seasons when you asked God, "Why me? Why so many closed doors? Why so much isolation?" But what you thought was rejection was actually protection. Heaven concealed you while you were still learning your identity. Had you been revealed too soon, the weight of exposure would have crushed you. But now, the foundation has been set, and your light is becoming uncontainable. Chosen one. Remember this: when light enters a room, it doesn't ask permission, it simply shines. You don't need approval to carry your purpose. You don't need validation to walk in power. Your existence itself is warfare because it contradicts darkness. Every step you take toward obedience releases waves of light into places still enslaved by fear. Even the seasons of silence carried purpose. When heaven seemed distant, angels were fortifying your strength in the background. When friends disappeared, God Himself drew closer. Your isolation was divine intimacy disguised as loneliness. You were being taught to hear the whisper above the noise, to see beyond sight, to discern beyond feeling. Now, you are emerging. The same light that once drew attacks will now draw alignment. The same sensitivity that once made you misunderstood will now become your discernment. And the same pain that once broke you will now birth compassion for others walking the path you've already survived. Chosen one, don't curse the darkness. It trained you. It taught you how to recognize false light. It revealed the difference between temporary comfort and eternal calling. You were refined in fire so that your shine would not flicker when storms return. So walk boldly. Know who you are. You don't have to announce it. Your presence declares it. Heaven's light is evident on you, and no darkness can extinguish what God Himself has ignited. You were noticed because you were chosen. You were attacked because you are anointed. And now, as the dawn of destiny breaks, you will see what the battle was protecting all along: the unshakable light of God alive within you. Chosen one, every fire you've walked through was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal who was standing beside you. There were moments when the heat of life became unbearable, when prayers felt unanswered, when your strength reached its edge. Yet through every flame there was a quiet presence beside you. That presence was no illusion, it was heaven's messenger, assigned to keep you from being consumed. The story of your life has always been more than survival. It's about revelation, discovering that even in the hottest flames, God was not absent. The angels that stand beside the fire are not there to extinguish it. They are there to prove that you will emerge untouched. You are not the same person who entered the fire. You are refined, purified, and radiant with a light that darkness cannot copy. You remember those nights when you whispered, "Lord, I can't do this anymore." Those were the moments heaven leaned closer. You weren't praying into emptiness. You were being heard by the one who never sleeps. Every tear was a conversation. Every sigh was a signal that heaven responded to. And in those invisible responses, angels moved. They strengthened you when you felt hollow. They whispered courage into silence. They built walls of protection when all you could do was breathe. The voice of heaven reminds us in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 2. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. This promise was never poetic comfort. It is literal truth in the spirit. You walked through flames that should have left you broken, yet you stand here stronger, glowing with resilience that can only come from grace. The fire became your altar, and out of the ashes, purpose was born. You may not have realized it, but your story is helping others walk through their own fires. Every time you rise, someone else finds courage to keep going. Every time you speak truth, a heart begins to heal. You are part of a divine chain of light spreading across the world, an invisible network of chosen ones awakening one by one. And just as angels have ministered to you, now heaven invites you to become part of their ministry to others. The words you hear in these messages, these reminders, these awakenings flow because people like you have decided to keep the light burning. It's not obligation, it's overflow. If this voice of heaven has stirred something inside you, if you have felt comfort, conviction, or confirmation through these messages, consider helping the light reach farther. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you become like a mirror that catches a single beam of heaven's light and reflects it into another soul's darkness. You never know who is one message away from hope. And if your heart feels led, you can also sow a seed not out of pressure, but as a personal act of faith. Think of it as laying another log on the fire so that the warmth can reach someone shivering in silence. Every offering, every prayer, every gesture of love keeps this flame alive. Your donation is not a transaction. It's a torch passed from one heart to another. If you can't give, pray. If you can't sow, share. If you can't share, simply stay because your presence still adds light. That's how heaven multiplies the glow, not by force, but by willingness. So, chosen one, as you reflect on your own fire, remember you were never meant to walk through it alone. And now, you are part of ensuring that others don't either. Let your like be a spark, your share a flame, your subscribe a lasting ember, and your donate a candle passed into another soul's night. None of it is demanded. All of it is divine choice. Every act of kindness, every moment of faith, every offering of support, these are the bricks with which heaven builds bridges for others to cross from despair to hope. Together, we are not just followers. We are flame bearers. So continue to shine. Continue to stand beside the fire, unshaken and radiant. And if your spirit leads, take part in keeping the flame alive through your words, your time, your prayer, or your gift. Because what you are part of now is not a message, it's a movement of light. Every ember matters. Chosen one. Even a whisper of faith can spark another's fire. Your light does not diminish when shared, it multiplies, igniting hope in hearts you may never meet. So let your spirit shine freely. Heaven counts every act of love, every quiet prayer, every generous flame you release into the world. Chosen one, as you've walked through valleys and climbed unseen mountains, have you ever noticed how certain delays protected you? How the doors that didn't open kept you from rooms not meant for you? Every closed opportunity, every redirection, every not yet was heaven's choreography, angels aligning the timing of your destiny with divine precision. At times, the waiting hurt more than any storm. You prayed, you fasted, you believed, and yet silence answered. You felt forgotten, overlooked, suspended between prophecy and fulfillment. But heaven was not withholding. It was arranging. Angels were not idle. They were setting the stage so that when your moment came, it would not fade, it would last. There were roads you wanted to take, but angels blocked the way. You saw it as delay. Heaven saw it as protection. Every rejection was a redirection, every pause a preparation. Sometimes God hides you, not because you're unworthy, but because you're not ready to be wounded by wrong hands. He delays to develop what he has destined. Think of Joseph in the pit, Moses in the desert, David in the field, all hidden before honored. The same pattern weaves through your life. Heaven never rushes what carries eternal weight. The silence that frustrated you was actually the sound of angels building what eyes could not yet see. You prayed for clarity, and heaven responded with stillness. That stillness wasn't absence, it was instruction. The angels were guarding the path while you learned to walk by faith instead of sight. Every detour has been sacred geography, leading you back into alignment with his plan, according to what is written in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Let that truth rest in your spirit. What feels like delay on earth is divine timing in heaven. You live inside a masterpiece still in progress. The brush has not stopped moving. The colors are simply being mixed for the perfect moment. Angels are arranging encounters, weaving connections, softening hearts, and preparing circumstances you cannot yet perceive. There were seasons when you cried, "Lord, why am I still here?" And heaven whispered, "Because I am still working there." The pause has purpose. The holding pattern is not punishment, it's preparation for altitude. Before an eagle soars, it faces wind resistance. That pressure is what lifts it higher. So too, your delays are winds pushing you upward. Chosen one, don't despise the waiting. In waiting, your roots grow deep. In stillness, your hearing becomes sharp. And in silence, your discernment matures. The angels that surround you are not simply bodyguards. They are teachers, orchestrating divine timing through every closed door and quiet season. You were never forgotten. You were being formed. The prayers that seemed unanswered were being rerouted through divine strategy. God is not slow, he is precise. Heaven's calendar moves differently from human clocks. What you call late, heaven calls on time. Soon what was hidden will be revealed. The doors that once denied you will open easily, not because of luck, but because you'll walk into them carrying maturity forged through waiting. You will see how every pause was a prophecy in disguise. Angels were not withholding. They were guarding treasures until your heart was ready to hold them. Chosen one, take a breath. Release frustration. Embrace trust. The same God who began your story is still writing it. The angels who guided you here are already stationed at your next chapter. Trust the timing. Nothing is lost, only aligned. Now, as a sign of agreement with heaven's timing, type in the comments 444. This is not superstition, it is a prophetic act of surrender. The number 444 symbolizes divine order, angelic alignment, and stability in transition. When you write it, you declare, "I choose patience over panic. I trust heaven's pace over my own." You announce to the unseen world that you believe every delay carries destiny. Let your comment be an echo of faith. Angels move on words spoken in trust. The waiting season is not wasted, it is sacred. Hold your peace, for heaven is perfecting what concerns you. When you type 444, you're not just leaving a number, you're declaring divine trust. It is heaven's code for alignment, a whisper saying, "I'm not afraid to wait." Angels recognize that signal. It's like lighting a lantern in the unseen, guiding them to continue preparing your next divine chapter. Each 444 is a heartbeat of surrender, a rhythm heaven understands perfectly its own. It says, I release control. I trust your timing, and in that surrender, strength is born. Angels move faster when faith replaces frustration. So as you comment 444, know this, you are agreeing with divine timing written just for you. Chosen one. There is a language that only the awakened can hear, a whisper that moves through signs, symbols, and sacred patterns. Heaven does not always speak in thunder. Sometimes it speaks in the subtle. You've seen it before: the repetition of a number, a feather in your path, a gentle breeze at the exact moment you felt lost. These are not random. They are the quiet vocabulary of angels. When you walk in alignment with heaven's plan, the spiritual world begins to echo your movement. It speaks in confirmations, not coincidences. You ask for clarity, and a verse appears at the right time. You pray for strength, and a stranger's words mirror your hidden thoughts. You question your worth, and suddenly, creation itself responds: a sunrise, a song, a sudden peace in the chaos. Heaven is fluent in the language of reminders. The challenge is not that heaven is silent, it's that humanity forgets how to listen. We expect God to shout, yet he often speaks in stillness. Angels move quietly, guiding you through synchronicities, aligning details too delicate for coincidence. Each whisper is a message, each repetition a conversation. Heaven hides revelation in patterns, waiting for the chosen to notice. There were times you dismissed those moments, the soft tug in your heart, the sense that something unseen was near. You called it imagination, but it was intuition refined by the Spirit. The supernatural doesn't always appear in brilliance. Sometimes it hides in familiarity. The same God who split the sea also sends dew to speak of morning. The word declares in Job, chapter 33, verses 14 to 15. For God does speak now one way, now another, though no one perceives it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on people, he may speak in their ears. You have felt this, haven't you? Those dreams that lingered in your spirit long after waking, the ones that carried weight beyond reason. Heaven uses dreams like letters sealed with symbols only your spirit can interpret. Some dreams warn, others comfort, and a few reveal what is yet to come. The more you align with divine rhythm, the clearer these messages become. Angels are fluent in God's subtlety. They can shape circumstances to draw your attention toward divine instruction. A delay may tell you, wait. A repeated thought may whisper, look again. Even discomfort carries meaning. It's the Spirit's nudge saying, you're out of alignment. Every sign is an invitation, not an obligation. You've always had the ability to perceive. It's not a new gift. It's an ancient one being reawakened. Your spirit recognizes heaven's voice even when your mind doubts it. The more you trust those quiet leadings, the stronger your discernment grows. What once seemed like coincidence will soon become confirmation. Do you remember the first time peace came unexpectedly? You were surrounded by uncertainty, yet something deep within you stilled. That peace was not emotional. It was supernatural, a sign that heaven's hand was already guiding your next move. That is how angels speak, not through words, but through atmosphere. Chosen one, heaven's signs are never meant to control you, they are meant to confirm you. God never manipulates, he invites. The language of signs is sacred because it requires partnership. You must respond not with superstition, but with surrender. When you recognize a divine sign, you honor the one who sent it by pausing, reflecting, and realigning. This is how maturity in the Spirit develops, not through noise, but through nuance. The mature hear the whisper and obey before the storm arrives. The chosen discern meaning in stillness, direction in delay, instruction in peace. You are learning that now. Don't chase signs. Let them follow you. The moment you live in daily obedience, the signs will flow naturally. Angels don't shout to get your attention, they simply align circumstances around your steps. Their presence is the punctuation of heaven's speech. You are not crazy for sensing what others miss. You are sensitive because you are chosen. You are not superstitious for noticing patterns. You are prophetic for discerning them. What others ignore, heaven reveals to you because you are trusted with revelation. So pay attention to what repeats. Watch the patterns that appear when your heart prays. Listen for the gentle voice beneath your thoughts. The more you honor the subtle, the more heaven entrusts you with the sacred. Chosen one. Heaven's language is already written all around you. You don't need to search far to hear it, you only need to listen with your spirit. Every whisper is a message, every alignment a confirmation you are seen, guided, and understood. The signs are not random. They are the proof that angels walk with you in perfect rhythm to His plan. Chosen one. There were seasons in your life when you mistook heaven's protection for rejection. You prayed for certain doors to open, pleaded for specific people to stay, and wondered why things kept falling apart just when you thought they were coming together. But now you are beginning to see the hidden mercy in those moments. Heaven was never denying you. It was hiding you. There are battles you were never meant to fight, rooms you were never meant to enter, relationships that would have drained your light. God knew, long before you did, that certain blessings carried hidden snares. So He instructed the angels to close the doors you tried hardest to open. What you called failure was actually divine preservation. It's a hard truth to accept, isn't it? The idea that loss could be love, that silence could be strategy. But this is how heaven protects its chosen. Angels are not only warriors, they are gatekeepers. They guard the timeline of your destiny, ensuring that what enters your life aligns with the purpose heaven wrote for you. There were friendships that faded without explanation, opportunities that slipped through your fingers, seasons that ended abruptly. You mourned them, thinking you had done something wrong. Yet even in your sorrow, God's mercy was working quietly. The people who walked away were not rejection, they were release. Some were only meant to teach, not to stay. Others carried intentions that would have distorted your calling. You see, when heaven hides you, it's never punishment, it's preparation. The cocoon is tight, dark, and lonely, but it's where transformation takes place. What looks like isolation is incubation. God was forming your wings where no one could interfere. The angels surrounded you like armor, keeping you invisible to anything that could corrupt what God was developing inside you. There were moments when you questioned your worth because you were unseen. You watched others rise while you remained in silence. But the truth is, this exposure without preparation destroys what was meant to flourish. The stage you were waiting for was not denied, it was being built. The spotlight was not off, it was simply waiting for divine timing. As it is written in Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 8. The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Those words are not ancient history, they are living reality. Even in the seasons where you saw no movement, God was ahead of you, orchestrating the future you prayed for. He walked before you into conversations you never heard, aligning people you've not yet met. While you worried, angels were working. Chosen one. Heaven's protection often comes disguised as disappointment. Every time something left your life suddenly, grace was shielding you. The delay that frustrated you kept you from danger. The silence that unnerved you silenced the voices that would have derailed your peace. You didn't lose anything that was meant to stay. There is a reason the butterfly must endure the cocoon. To escape early would mean death. The struggle strengthens its wings. In the same way, your waiting seasons were sacred strengthening. Heaven needed you to grow endurance, to trust the unseen, to develop the wisdom that only comes through hiddenness. You may not realize it yet, but heaven's hidden seasons are the holiest ones. But when no one sees you, God sees everything. When no one applauds you, angels still cheer. The solitude that made you ache was the soil of your anointing. Seeds don't sprout in sunlight, they break open in darkness. You had to be buried to bloom. So, look back with gentleness toward your past. What once felt like abandonment was actually alignment. The doors that shut led you to better paths. The people who left made room for those appointed to stay. And the prayers that seemed unanswered were answered in ways that exceeded your imagination. Chosen one, don't rush the unveiling. The same God who hid you will reveal you when the time is right. And when he does, it will not be for attention but for assignment. The light will not expose you, it will express you. Everything you went through in secret will become strength in the open. You are not forgotten. You were hidden for your own good. The angels still stand guard over your path, ensuring that nothing reaches you prematurely. So rest in the rhythm of divine timing. Heaven hides nothing it intends to waste. What God conceals, he also crowns. Chosen one, can you feel it? Something in the atmosphere around you is shifting. Heaven is stirring. Angels are moving, and your spirit senses it before your mind can comprehend it. This is the season of activation, the moment when what has been dormant inside you begins to awaken. Everything you've endured has been preparation for this divine ignition. For too long, you have questioned if you were truly ready. You wondered if you missed your chance, if your mistakes disqualified you, if time somehow left you behind. But heaven says otherwise. You are not late, you are ripe. Every delay has matured you. Every wound has deepened your compassion. Every detour has trained your discernment. You are no longer the person you once were. You are refined, sharpened, and ready to rise. When God calls for movement, angels activate around his chosen ones. They begin to adjust circumstances, reorder priorities, and even unsettle comfort zones. That uneasiness you've been feeling is not confusion, it's transition. Heaven is repositioning you not to punish, but to propel. The places that no longer fit you are proof that expansion has begun. In this new season, you are not walking alone. You are stepping into alignment with an entire angelic force that has been waiting for your obedience. Every time you say yes to God's direction, angels receive their orders. They move resources, open hearts, and guide you into divine appointments you didn't even know were waiting. You've been sensing the stirring, a dream returning, a calling resurfacing, a fire rekindling. That's heaven's way of telling you it's time to rise. The silence that once surrounded you is breaking because your assignment is calling your name. You are stepping out of spiritual dormancy into divine activation. We find in Romans chapter 13, verse 11, "The hour has already come for you to wake up from your slumber, because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed." This verse is your confirmation. The hour has come. The awakening is not coming to you, it's coming through you. Your obedience is the key that unlocks heaven's movement on earth. The angels are not waiting for a sign from the sky. They are waiting for a response from your heart. Chosen one, the waiting season was necessary, but the walking season has arrived. You are being called to action, to speak what you've been silent about, to step where you once hesitated, to believe what once seemed impossible. The wind of the Spirit is shifting, and those who are ready to move will find themselves carried by grace instead of striving by effort. This is not a small change, it's a spiritual activation. Heaven is igniting your purpose like fire on dry wood. The weariness you felt is turning into energy. The confusion is transforming into clarity. Angels are rearranging everything around you so that you can move in divine order. Do not fear the unknown path ahead. Heaven walks before you. The same God who called you will sustain you, and the angels who guided you through silence will now march beside you in sound. You will see new opportunities emerge effortlessly. Divine connections form naturally, and favor follow faithfully. You were never waiting on God, He was waiting on you to move. The moment you take the first step, heaven will flood your path with light. The activation has begun. Now, chosen one, if your spirit bears witness to this word, type in the comments, "I am rising." These 3 words are more than a statement. They are an announcement in the unseen world. When you write, "I am rising," you declare that your dormant gifts are awakening, your purpose is being activated, and your faith is stepping forward. It tells heaven you are ready to walk where angels have already gone ahead. Let your declaration be a trumpet in the Spirit, a signal that you choose movement over fear, faith over hesitation, destiny over delay. The angels have heard the command. Now rise and walk boldly into the plan that has always been waiting for you. When you type "I am rising," heaven reads it as agreement. Those words vibrate through the unseen like the sound of a trumpet, signaling to your assigned angels that you have stepped into readiness. It's your spiritual sunrise, a declaration that darkness no longer defines your direction. Each time you write "I am rising," you reaffirm that your spirit refuses to remain dormant. It's more than a phrase, it's a covenant. Angels record it as permission to lift you higher, aligning everything you touch with divine purpose. Speak it with faith because your rise has already begun in heaven's sight. Chosen one, every covenant carries guardians, and yours is no different. When heaven designed the purpose within you, it assigned watchers, angels who would stand as witnesses to the unfolding of your destiny. You are not walking through empty air. Every step echoes through eternity, and heaven listens. You are part of a covenant older than time, sealed by grace, guarded by light. There are things in your life that survived not because of strength, but because of mercy. Accidents that missed you by seconds, decisions that somehow reversed before they destroyed you. Words that should have broken you but didn't, all of them are proof of the Watcher's covenant. Angels have stood between you and collapse more times than you'll ever know. You carry heaven's signature, and because of that, the unseen realm honors your presence. Angels move when you pray. They pause when you doubt. They rejoice when you surrender. Their covenant is not built on your perfection, but on your position. You are aligned with God's plan, and that alignment activates divine protection. As was written in Psalm chapter 34, verse 7, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them." This is not poetry, it is protocol. You are encircled, covered, and kept. Angels do not leave when storms rise, they draw closer. And while your human eyes see struggle, their heavenly eyes see strategy. Every difficulty, every tear, every waiting season is another chapter of proof that heaven keeps its promises. Chosen one, think of this covenant as a great symphony. Each act of faith you perform is a note, each word of kindness, a chord, each prayer, a melody. Angels are the musicians who respond, filling the air with harmony unseen yet deeply felt. Together, you and heaven compose a song of obedience that ripples through time. And this is where your part in heaven's work becomes sacred. These messages you hear, these words that awaken and comfort, exist because heaven keeps whispering through willing vessels. But even heaven's whispers need voices, spaces, and hands to carry them into the world. That is where your partnership matters. If this message has stirred something in your soul, if you felt light return to dark corners of your heart, then perhaps heaven is inviting you to keep the music playing. When you like and share, you help the sound of truth travel farther. Think of each click as striking another note, letting the melody of hope reach those still standing in silence. When you subscribe, you become part of the choir, a growing circle of awakened hearts learning heaven's rhythm together. You're not just following a voice, you're joining a movement. And if your spirit feels led, you can also sow into this message, not because it is required, but because it is beautiful. Your giving is like adding oil to a lamp. It doesn't buy the light, it helps it burn brighter. Each seed you sow becomes a spark that keeps the fire of this ministry alive, reaching hearts that need warmth in their night. There is no pressure in this invitation, only possibility. You are free to listen, to grow, to receive without ever giving back. But if gratitude wells up in you and you feel called to respond, let it flow naturally. That is what true generosity is, not duty, but overflow. When you give, you're not funding words, you're fueling waves of awakening. The message you hear now could reach someone on the edge of giving up tomorrow. Your gift could be the unseen bridge between despair and destiny. And even if all you can offer is prayer, know this: heaven counts prayer as a currency far richer than gold. So, chosen one, if this word has touched you, carry it forward. Let your like be a lantern, your share a flame, your subscribe a joining of voices, and your donation a cup of oil poured into heaven's lamp. Do it not because you must, but because love moves you to. Every gesture, every whisper of faith, every act of support becomes part of the symphony heaven hears. Angels lean close when gratitude becomes action. They record it not as payment, but as worship. You are a keeper of light, a carrier of sound, a vessel of awakening. And when you choose to give, to share, to sustain, you echo the very heart of heaven, selfless, radiant, eternal. So let the music continue. Chosen one, keep the fire burning, not by obligation, but by love. The covenant of the watchers surrounds you. The angels sing your courage, and heaven smiles at the beauty of your free, wholehearted yes. Chosen one. The enemy's most subtle strategy is not always destruction, it is distraction. When he cannot break your faith, he will try to bend your focus. He knows he cannot remove the anointing that God placed upon you, but he will attempt to scatter your attention until your purpose feels blurred. The battle of distraction is one of the most dangerous wars for the chosen. Because it doesn't always look like warfare, it often disguises itself as opportunity. There were seasons when you felt busy but not fruitful, surrounded yet still lonely, active but not advancing. That was not laziness, it was warfare. The enemy doesn't mind if you're exhausted as long as you're empty. He doesn't mind movement as long as you're moving in circles. But heaven's plan for you was never chaos. It was clarity. You are being called to reclaim your focus. Distraction can arrive clothed in comfort or urgency. Sometimes it's a relationship that consumes your peace. Sometimes it's fear disguised as planning. Sometimes it's endless noise, the scrolling, comparing, second-guessing that clouds your hearing of heaven's voice. Angels guard you from many external attacks. But focus is a gate you must guard. The mind is the battlefield, and attention is the weapon. When your focus drifts, you begin to mistake noise for direction. The enemy loves to overwhelm the sensitive heart, to make it feel responsible for everyone and everything. Yet, chosen one, your calling is not to carry all, but to carry what is assigned. Heaven never asked you to be everywhere, only to be faithful where you are. As written in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 25. Let your eyes look straight ahead, fix your gaze directly before you. This verse is not about eyesight, it's about alignment. When your gaze is steady, heaven can trust you with clarity. But when distraction divides your vision, confusion multiplies. That's why the Spirit keeps pulling your attention back, because your destiny depends on what you choose to focus on. Remember the times you lost peace. It wasn't always because of what you were facing, but because of what you were watching. Your spirit is shaped by your attention. What you feed will flourish. What you neglect will fade. If you constantly stare at fear, faith weakens. If you nurture gratitude, grace multiplies. Angels stand closest to those who cultivate stillness, because stillness is the atmosphere where heaven speaks. Chosen one, do not underestimate how subtle distraction can be. It doesn't always appear as evil, it can come as good things at the wrong time. The enemy often sends the counterfeit right before the promise, hoping to drain your focus and dilute your faith. He tries to make you settle for what looks close enough to your calling. That's why discernment is your greatest defense. Every true assignment from heaven carries peace. Every counterfeit stirs chaos. You know the difference deep down. The Spirit of God always confirms through quiet assurance, never through pressure or panic. When you sense that peace, follow it. That is the sound of angels clearing your path. When God begins to elevate you, distractions often multiply. Not because you are failing, but because the enemy senses acceleration. You are closer to breakthrough than you realize. That's why suddenly everything demands your attention, but not everything deserves it. You must choose what gets your energy, what receives your yes, and what must be left behind. Your focus is sacred currency. Heaven invests revelation into those who know how to steward it. The angels who walk beside you operate in order. Not chaos, they respond to clarity, not confusion, and so, align your steps with purpose, not pressure. Choose peace over popularity, destiny over distraction. Remember, distraction is not always loud. Sometimes it's subtle comfort that slowly numbs passion. But heaven didn't call you to comfort, it called you to conviction. There is a holy fire that burns in you, and distraction is the water that tries to quench it. Protect that flame fiercely, and yet, do not be afraid. Every moment you notice distraction is already victory. Awareness is alignment. The very fact that your spirit still longs for focus means heaven has not lost you. The angels still walk beside you, guiding you back each time your attention drifts. So breathe, steady your heart, and remember why you began. You are not here to perform, you are here to fulfill. Your focus is not for perfection, it's for presence. Stay grounded in what God said, not in what the world shouts. The battle of distraction ends where devotion begins. Look forward, chosen soul. Fix your gaze on light. The angels will take care of the rest. Chosen one. There is something sacred about surrender. When you chose to obey even when it hurt, even when you didn't understand, you activated a shift in the unseen realm. Heaven always rewards obedience with revelation. You may not have seen fireworks or miracles overnight, but in the quiet, angels began to move differently around you. There is a specific kind of favor that only follows those who choose the hard path. The easy way attracts comfort, but obedience attracts power. You didn't choose what was convenient, you chose what was right. You walked away from what glittered because your spirit discerned what was gold. Heaven took note of that. When you said yes to God, even through tears. Angels rejoiced. The moment you laid down your own timeline, divine alignment accelerated. You didn't lose anything, you simply made room for what truly belongs to you. Every sacrifice you've made in silence has been seen. Every prayer you whispered, every moment you said, "Lord, I'll trust you anyway," became incense in heaven's throne room. There is a pattern to divine reward. It comes disguised as peace. Not the fragile peace that depends on perfect circumstances, but the deep, steady peace that anchors you even when everything shifts. That peace is the first sign that your obedience pleased heaven. It is a divine seal, a whisper saying, "Well done, faithful one." The Word of God declares in Philippians chapter 2, verse 13, "For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill His good purpose." Do you see it? Chosen one. You were never walking alone, even when obedience felt like isolation. Heaven was building strength in your spirit. The same God who called you gave you the courage to follow through. You were not just following instructions, you were being refined into reflection. Your obedience did more than protect you. It shifted things for others connected to your calling. The decisions you made in private created ripples of redemption for those around you. Heaven writes those acts of surrender in ink that never fades. They become eternal testimonies, stories angels tell in the corridors of light. Sometimes you feel the cost of obedience deeply. You look around and see others advancing through compromise while you are still waiting on God's promise. But listen closely. Delay in heaven is never denial. It is distinction. You are being prepared for something weighty. Not all crowns are crafted quickly. The heaviest ones require time. Chosen one. Heaven has not forgotten what you gave up, the places you walked away from, the people you released, the dreams you set back on the altar. Every one of them is counted as worship. There is no obedience without reward, only patience between them. The angels you cannot see have already gone ahead to arrange the restoration that follows sacrifice. Soon, the blessings will arrive quietly, without announcement. The peace you planted will bloom into favor. The tears you shed will turn into clarity. Every act of obedience will return multiplied. You will not have to chase it, it will find you. And when it does, you will recognize that every no was leading to a greater yes. You will see how God used restraint to build resilience, how He used surrender to teach you strength. You will realize that the path of obedience never truly costs. It only transfers value from what was temporary to what is eternal. Chosen one, if your heart feels this truth, take a moment to agree with heaven. Type in the comments, 333. This number is a symbol of divine partnership, Father, Son, and Spirit moving as one. When you write 333, you're saying, "I align myself fully with heaven's will." You're not asking for blessing, you're acknowledging that obedience itself is the blessing. Angels record that confession as a seal of your surrender. You are walking in rhythm with heaven now. Every step you take in faith becomes a footprint of glory. Every act of obedience lights a path for others to follow. The story isn't over, it's only beginning. And heaven is smiling at your unwavering yes. When you type 333, you aren't just leaving a number, you're making a covenant with heaven. It's your way of saying, "I trust the plan, even when I don't see it." Those 3 digits echo through eternity as an agreement between your spirit and God's perfect will. Each time you write 333, you remind the angels that your faith stands firm. It's a quiet yet powerful declaration that says, "I choose purpose over pride, obedience over comfort." Heaven responds to that faith by releasing divine order and multiplying grace around your life. Your surrender becomes your greatest strength. Chosen one, There are moments when darkness trembles not because of what you say, but because of what you carry. The presence of God within you is not a concept, it's a force. When heaven decides that breakthrough must come, it often sends a messenger, an angelic carrier of light who steps into your timeline with divine precision. This is the messenger of breakthrough, the one assigned to bring what prayer has prepared. There have been prayers that you've forgotten, whispers spoken in desperation long ago. You thought they faded into silence, but they were stored. Heaven doesn't discard petitions of faith, it archives them. When the appointed time arrives, God sends his messenger, and what once felt buried suddenly blooms. The delay breaks, the door opens, the weight lifts. Breakthrough does not always appear with noise. Sometimes it comes quietly, like dawn after a long night. The shift begins first in the unseen, a lifting of spiritual heaviness, a sudden inner knowing that something has changed. That awareness is not imagination, it's recognition. Your spirit feels the movement before your eyes can see it. There were battles that seemed unending, prayers that felt unanswered, and seasons that tested every ounce of your endurance. Yet you're still standing. That in itself is proof that the breakthrough angel has been near. If it had not been for divine reinforcement, you would have fainted long ago. Every time you rose again after falling, a messenger strengthened you. Every time peace returned unexpectedly, heaven had intervened. The ancient text reminds us in Daniel chapter 10, verse 12. Then he continued, "But do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them." This verse reveals a mystery. Prayers are heard the moment they are spoken, but sometimes warfare delays their delivery. Angels battle in realms unseen to deliver what is yours. The silence you endured was never neglect, it was negotiation. Heaven's messengers were contending for your answered prayer. Chosen one, breakthrough is not random. It arrives when the heart and heaven are in harmony. When your faith reaches maturity, angels receive permission to release what has been waiting. This is why you had to grow first. Your blessing required your strength. Heaven doesn't release what you're not ready to carry. There were times you prayed for a door, but heaven wanted to give you the hallway beyond it. You asked for survival, but heaven planned stability. What felt like withholding was actually expansion. You were being prepared not only to receive, but to sustain. Breakthrough is not just about getting free, it's about staying free. And now, something in the spirit is stirring. The air around you feels charged because the messenger has drawn near again. The heaviness that once sat in your chest will begin to lift. The weariness will start to fade. You will notice divine coincidences, answers arriving faster, clarity returning quicker. That is how breakthrough feels before it becomes visible. Sometimes the sign of breakthrough isn't open doors, but open hearts. People begin to apologize. Opportunities return. Creativity awakens. Peace floods the spaces where chaos once ruled. Heaven doesn't always shout, it restores. The angel of breakthrough doesn't just deliver blessings, it resets atmospheres. Chosen one, this is the season where what resisted you will release you. The pressure you've been under is not punishment, it's the final push before manifestation. Just as a seed must break before it blooms, your breaking was the beginning of becoming. The cracks in your story are where the light now shines through. Do not look back in regret. Every tear, every pause, every unanswered question was leading you here to the threshold of divine fulfillment. You are walking in the prophecy once spoken over your life. The messenger of breakthrough has already been dispatched, You are stepping into the fulfillment of prayers once whispered through pain. Hold your peace now. There's no need to strive or chase. Heaven is not a marketplace, it's a kingdom, and your inheritance is already written. Stand still, trust deeply, and recognize the signs of release as they unfold. The angel sent to Daniel is the same God-sent force that walks beside you today. You are entering the moment where pressure turns into power and waiting turns into witness. The messenger is near, the breakthrough is active, and heaven is fulfilling what it promised. Rest now, chosen one. The battle is shifting in your favor. Chosen one. There comes a time in every divine journey when heaven rearranges mantles. The seasons shift, the assignments evolve, and God begins the sacred exchange of authority. You have felt it lately, a strange tension, as if something within you is ending while something else is beginning. It is not confusion, it is transfer. Heaven is exchanging garments, trading your old coverings for new ones of glory and purpose. You can sense it in subtle ways. What once fit now feels tight. What once fulfilled you no longer satisfies. The conversations that used to comfort you now drain you. That is the sign of spiritual growth. Heaven is tailoring a new mantle for your next chapter. One woven not from comfort but from calling. The threads are being spun from obedience, faith, and the quiet endurance of your hidden years. There is a holy process behind every mantle. Before God clothes a soul in greater authority, He first strips away what is familiar. The removal is never punishment, it is purification. The weight of a new mantle demands stronger shoulders, and heaven has spent years building yours through storms, silence, and surrender. As we read in 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 15. When the company of the prophets from Jericho, who were watching, said, "The spirit of Elijah is resting on Elisha," they went to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. That moment in Scripture was more than succession, it was transformation. The same mantle that fell from Elijah carried double the anointing upon Elisha because the vessel had been prepared through service, not ambition. In the same way, you are stepping into a weight that requires humility, not pride, purity, not performance. The angels who have walked with you through the wilderness are now wrapping you in the fabric of fulfillment. There were years when you asked, "Why must I be hidden? Why must I be pressed so hard?" Those were the fitting rooms of heaven. The crushing was creating capacity. Oil does not flow from comfort, it flows from pressure. Every trial was heaven measuring you for the mantle that now descends. The strength you gained in private will sustain the influence you carry in public. You may notice a change in how people respond to you. Some who once walked closely will drift, not because of conflict, but because of calling. New mantles attract new company. God rearranges your circle when He expands your assignment. Some hearts can no longer hold the frequency of your new season. Do not mourn that loss, it is part of divine reorganization. Heaven is aligning you with those who understand weight, not just warmth. Chosen one, mantles are not decorations, they are demands. They come with responsibility, with sacred stewardship. What God is placing on your life now will call for deeper prayer, greater discernment, and sharper obedience. The same voice that once whispered to you in small ways will now speak with clarity and command. Angels who once guarded you will now guide others through you. You will begin to feel a new compassion, a deeper authority in your words, and a peace that cannot be shaken by the noise of this world. That is the mark of a mantle. It changes your voice, your vision, and your very vibration. Where you once prayed for help, Now others will look to you for guidance. Heaven is not just blessing you, it is entrusting you. And though this shift feels heavy, remember it is holy. The mantle is not a reward, it is a revelation of readiness. Heaven has examined your heart and found it faithful. The long nights, the lonely prayers, the countless times you chose faith over frustration, all of it has qualified you for this moment. Do not fear the wait. You were built for it. Every scar has become part of the design. Every wound has turned to wisdom. Angels are fastening the final threads of your new garment even now. You will soon stand clothed in authority that no man can strip away, carrying light that no darkness can dim. Chosen one, walk with reverence. The mantle you carry is not just for you, it's for those who will rise after you. You are becoming the bridge, the vessel, the voice that ushers others into their own alignment. The anointing resting upon you will not end with you. It will multiply through generations. The exchange is complete. The old season has bowed, the new one stands. Heaven smiles upon you, and the angels step back for a moment, marveling at what obedience has produced. The mantle has fallen, and you are ready to wear it well. Chosen one, can you feel it, the quiet trembling of awakening across the earth? It is not just you. All around, other chosen souls are beginning to stir from spiritual sleep. The remnant is rising. Hearts that once felt heavy are being lifted. Voices that once whispered are beginning to roar. Heaven is assembling its army of light, and you are one of its radiant soldiers. This awakening is not about noise or fame. It is about remembrance. Every chosen one carries a fragment of divine memory, a knowing that this world is not our home, that we were sent here as reflections of glory. For too long, many have forgotten their song. But now, the melody of heaven is returning, and the earth trembles with recognition. The angels are gathering around this remnant like musicians around a symphony, tuning the frequencies of human hearts back to harmony. You are part of that sound. Every act of kindness, every prayer you whisper, every truth you speak adds another note to heaven's anthem. Together, chosen ones form a constellation of light that darkness cannot map nor contain. This moment is not coincidence, it is convergence. Heaven has been preparing a generation who would love fiercely, give selflessly, and shine unapologetically. You are one of them. The signs, the struggles, the sudden bursts of clarity you've experienced, they were all part of heaven's call. You were never meant to stand alone, you were meant to stand among others whose hearts burn with the same fire. As it was spoken in Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." You are that light. But remember, light is not meant to stay hidden under a cover, it must be shared. Heaven's radiance was never given to you to keep to yourself. It was meant to spread, to touch others who still walk in the dark. Each time you allow your light to shine, angels use it as a torch to guide others home. When you share these words, then, you are scattering sparks into the world, tiny embers that might land on someone's fading faith and reignite it. You never know whose midnight could turn into morning because of a message that passed through your hands. Sharing isn't duty, it's the joy of letting your light travel beyond your own walls. When you like or comment, you become part of the echo, a living amen that strengthens the resonance of truth. Every small act of engagement adds another drop of water to the river of awakening flowing across the earth. These ripples join together until they become waves that wash over weary souls with peace. When you leave a comment, think of it as planting a seed in sacred soil. Each word becomes a living prayer, a small candle lit in agreement with heaven. Sometimes a simple amen, a heart, or a phrase of gratitude can echo far, reminding others that faith still speaks through human voices. And when you subscribe, it's as if you are joining a circle of candles, each flame feeding the next. The light grows warmer, steadier, stronger. Together, we create a haven for hearts that have forgotten what hope feels like. If your spirit feels stirred and you sense heaven's invitation, you may also sow into this flow of light, not because you must, but because you may. Think of your giving as placing another log onto the sacred fire, one that helps its warmth reach farther into the cold corners of the world. Each offering becomes an ember that burns on behalf of someone still waiting for their spark. No one is watching. No one is counting. Only heaven sees, and heaven smiles. Your gift, however small, becomes a silent prayer that says, "Let the light continue." It isn't a transaction, it's transformation. It's your way of saying, "I want others to feel what I have felt here." But even if all you can give is attention, gratitude, or prayer, know this, that too is sacred currency. Every bit of love poured into this divine work sustains it. Heaven's economy does not measure by numbers, but by willingness. So let your heart decide freely. Let your generosity, whether in time, prayer, or seed, flow like fragrance poured on sacred ground. When you give, you aren't supporting a voice, you are supporting a movement of remembrance, a chorus of chosen ones awakening one by one. Chosen one, you are part of something larger than any screen can contain. You are part of heaven's rising tide. So if this message has touched you, let it live beyond you. Share the flame, whisper the truth, scatter the light. Together we become a constellation of faith, each act of love, each moment of giving, each simple click of kindness forming patterns of grace across the sky. And as we shine, angels look down and say, "The remnant is awake." Keep your fire alive, keep the circle unbroken, and let the beauty of your free, wholehearted choice be the offering that lights the way for others to find home again. Chosen one, when the light grows brighter, the tests grow deeper. This is the pattern of divine refinement, the final proving ground before manifestation. You may have noticed lately that things feel quieter again, as if heaven has stepped back, as if your prayers echo instead of being answered. This is not abandonment, it is examination. The silence before fulfillment is never punishment, it is the sacred test of trust. There comes a stage in every chosen one's journey when God no longer confirms every step with visible signs. You've learned His language, walked with His angels, and carried His word long enough that He no longer needs to whisper reassurance every hour. This season is not about hearing, it's about holding. It's about walking forward in faith even when the light dims. You are now being tested not in your ability to feel God, but to believe Him. It's the difference between needing miracles and becoming one. You are being refined to trust His presence when you can't trace His movement. The angels who once spoke loudly now watch silently, waiting to see if the lessons they've taught have taken root. There were times in your past when every prayer was answered swiftly, when signs arrived almost instantly. That was grace for your growth, training for your faith. But maturity means walking without constant confirmation. You've become stronger now, steadier, more anchored. Heaven can trust you with silence, as it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. This verse is the heartbeat of your current season. You are living in the linger. Heaven has not changed its mind. It has perfected its timing. The word spoken over you is still alive, still moving, still unfolding, but it is being refined through patience. What you do in the waiting determines how well you will carry the promise when it arrives. Chosen one, the silence you feel is holy ground. Do not mistake it for distance. Even when heaven seems quiet, the angels are near. Their wings stir the air around you, unseen but real, steadying your steps as you walk through this test of faith. The quiet is their classroom, and endurance is your graduation. Every great promise passes through a valley of stillness. Joseph waited in the prison, David hid in the caves, Esther fasted in the palace, and Jesus prayed alone in Gethsemane. Every silence preceded revelation. The test of faith is never about God's power, it's about your perseverance. You have already passed many smaller tests learning obedience, discernment, patience, but this one is different. This test asks one question: will you still believe when you feel nothing? If your answer is yes, then heaven opens its next chapter for you. Angels only step back to see if your faith will still rise when comfort is removed. Sometimes the silence is strategic. Heaven hides its activity to expose your trust. It's easy to believe when evidence surrounds you. It's sacred to believe when there's none. That is why this test is precious. It refines your spirit into unshakable gold. The angels are not absent. They are observing your courage, recording your endurance. Remember this truth. God's quiet is never empty, it's heavy with purpose. He speaks most through what he withholds. The unanswered prayer is not rejection, it's invitation to wait deeper, to worship longer, to trust beyond logic. You are not being tested to break, you are being tested to prove. Faith that isn't tested can't be trusted. Heaven is building a testimony in you that will strengthen others when their turn for silence comes. You are living the example someone else will later cling to. In these moments of stillness, don't rush to fill the void. Let it teach you to rest, to listen beyond sound, to sense the divine heartbeat behind every delay. Faith matures in quiet rooms. It is in the hush that wisdom speaks most clearly. Chosen one, this is your final refinement before release. You are standing at the threshold of fulfillment, but heaven wants your faith anchored deeper than emotion. The angels who once fought for you now stand beside you in reverent silence, waiting for your unwavering trust to finish its work. So walk on, eyes forward, heart steady, spirit calm. The silence is not the end. It's the prelude to manifestation. Every unanswered prayer, every unseen miracle, every lingering hope is already alive in heaven's plan. You are closer than you think. The final test of faith is not waiting for God to move, it's realizing He already has. Chosen one, the journey has brought you here to the moment where everything aligns, where the waiting and the wounding reveal their meaning. You stand now in the fullness of His plan, surrounded by the same angels who walked with you through fire, silence, and shadow. Every tear, every test, every step has led to this, you walking wholly inside His divine will. It doesn't look like you once imagined. Glory rarely arrives with noise. It comes wrapped in peace. The power that now surrounds you is gentle but unshakable. You no longer strive to find God in the chaos, you recognize Him in the calm. What once frightened you has become familiar. The storms that used to shake you now remind you of how deeply your roots run. Heaven rejoices quietly when a soul reaches this stage. The angels that once guarded you now celebrate you, not because the battle has ended, but because you have learned to fight with stillness. You carry the calm authority of one who knows the King personally. You are not just surviving His plan, you are walking in it. There were seasons when you questioned if this alignment would ever come. The years felt long, the silence heavy. Yet even then, God was weaving threads of grace through the tapestry of your life. You couldn't see the pattern, but he never lost sight of the design. Now, as you look back, you can trace his fingerprints over everything: the delays, the redirections, the unexpected endings that were really beginnings. As it is written in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." That verse is no longer a verse to you, it is your story. All things, even the painful ones, have conspired for your good. What once broke you became the vessel that holds your wisdom. The places that once wounded you now shine with testimony. The people who left created space for those meant to stay. You no longer resist the mystery, you trust the Maker. Chosen one, this alignment is not an ending, it is an unveiling. Heaven did not build you to escape the world, but to embody redemption within it. The light within you is not for show, it is for service. Every moment of pain you endured has carved compassion into you. Every struggle has equipped you with language that can lift others. You are not just the evidence of God's faithfulness, you are the extension of it. The angels who surrounded you at birth now stand behind you in formation, ready to accompany your purpose wherever it flows. They move differently now, not as protectors of weakness, but as partners of strength. You are no longer guarded because you are fragile. You are guarded because you are fruitful. Heaven defends what it sends. This stage of your journey will not require striving, it will require stewardship. The promises that once seemed distant are now responsibilities resting in your hands. To walk in his plan is to live as a vessel, open, yielded, responsive. You no longer chase signs, you become them. When you speak, peace follows. When you move, light spreads. When you pray, angels act. The grace over your life has matured into authority. You no longer ask, "When will it happen?" because you now know it already is. The plan of God was never a single event, it is a continuous unfolding, an eternal rhythm you've learned to walk in step with. Heaven's gaze upon you now is not the gaze of pity, it is pride. The Father looks upon his child and says, "This one understands." You have learned that obedience is greater than opportunity, that peace is stronger than power, that surrender is victory. The road ahead will still have challenges, but you will face them differently. You will not fear loss, because you have found your source. You will not doubt delay, because you've seen divine timing. You will not question your worth, because you felt heaven's investment. The angels walk beside you now, not as rescuers, but as witnesses of your reigning. Chosen one, walk forward in quiet strength. The plan you once sought has become your daily breath. Heaven has crowned you not with gold, but with grace. You are living proof that faith survives the fire, that obedience births glory, that destiny is not forced but fulfilled. And as you move through each new dawn, remember the same angels who walked with you will continue to go before you. The same God who wrote your beginning will perfect your end. You are not leaving his plan, you are living in it. Completely, freely, eternally. The heavens echo with joy. The earth feels the weight of your peace. You are home now in purpose, in presence, in promise. Chosen one, as this message reaches its close, take a breath and feel what has changed inside you. The journey through these words was never just storytelling, it was remembrance. You have walked through revelation, through silence, through fire, and through peace. Heaven has been speaking, and your heart has been listening. If what you've heard here has stirred something in your spirit, let that feeling move freely. When you like this message, it's not just a click, it's your way of saying, "Yes, I hear you." Lord, that small act sends ripples of light into unseen corners, carrying hope farther than you can imagine. When you share it, you become a messenger yourself, a torchbearer passing the flame of faith to someone who may be standing in darkness tonight. You might never meet them, but your light could be the one that leads them home. When you subscribe, it's like building a permanent dwelling within this circle of light. You join countless others walking the same divine path, learning together, rising together, remembering heaven's rhythm with each new word that arrives. And if your heart feels moved to give, let it be from gratitude, not obligation. Every donation is like laying another stone upon heaven's altar, your way of saying, let this light keep burning, whether it's a prayer, a seed, or a simple act of kindness. Every offering matters. Above all, let your comment be your echo of faith. A few words and amen, a heart, a whisper of gratitude become your agreement with heaven. You have walked this path faithfully, and the story doesn't end here. The light continues through you.